Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. I haven't checked the weather all over the place, and we have people tuning in from all over the place.
Hello.
Especially right here in Calgary. Hi, Brandy. If you are in Calgary, though, what about this weather, eh? I hope everybody's mood is up and elevated. It certainly seems like that. I've been downstairs on the floor. I've talked to colleagues. I've talked to my wife this morning. She's out in the park taking pictures of ducklings. It is just a gorgeous spring day. And I'm gonna do this. I have on my excellent shoes.
I love those.
And if you look at the bottom, they are dirty, but the leaf wraps around to make the sole of the shoe.
So intentional.
Yeah, I know. These are my favorite slides. And I thought it was only fair since the PowerPoint is made up of slides. To do it. So I'm going to be doing a hands-on planter today to show everybody maybe a couple of tips and tricks they didn't know. We did a workshop yesterday. Big shout out to our friends at the Calgary Winter Club. And Brandy and I went there and we did a planter for them. Now, I can take some things for granted when I do this because I've done so many for so many years. And there were some things there that they weren't necessarily aware of. So it was a lot of fun getting through it. So we have a lot to do. So I'll quickly go over some of the house rules. Okay, house rule number one. I hope you all have your tasty morning beverages. I've got a green tea going in our wonderful podcast branded mug. This is my favorite mug. So that is ridiculously hot. It's a beautiful spring day and I have third-degree burns. I've been drinking tea too long to get burns. So yeah, that was ground rule number. I lost my train of thought already. It's going to be quite the morning. Next house rule is this is going to be relatively straightforward. There are some slides I'm not really going to talk about. I put some plants in that are sun loving or shade loving. Obviously there is crossover. There's no hard and fast rules, but you'll have success if you plant them in these areas. And they're there as a reference point. Brandy can share them and make sure everybody gets them. But if you are having a problem with comprehension or you want me to show something, please interrupt. If you have any questions, there's always time for Q&A at the end. So, when we're thinking of a planter, I know a lot of people are, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. It's a great activity to do with mom, or if you're a dad, it's a great activity to do with the kids, to give to mom. It's like that homemade, macaroni art. She's not going to put the planter on the fridge. Well, I mean, she may put the planter on the fridge. I'm not going to project. But it's always fun and it's good for the kids to get their hands in the soil and work with plants. It can just be a lot of fun. Of course, there's pre-made ones. You can buy those. But planters are such a great gift for Mother's Day. But we're going to talk specifically about designing our own. So when we are looking at it, and I've got my notes here. My notes are the PowerPoint so I can stay on track.
If you're on Instagram, go on our website for the PowerPoint.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good house rule. That's a new house rule.
Yeah.
If you're watching on Insta, feel free to stay on Insta. We'd love to see you there. We'd love to see you on the gram. I don't know what the cool kids call it. I'm not cool. Very clearly. I wear plants on my feet. But if you want to stay on Insta, we love it. If you do want to get a better experience, goldenacre.ca. So your pot selection is important. It can be based on any number of things. It can be based on color, shape, size, and all of these can play together, the color and the size, the color and the shape, the color, shape, and size. How are you going to look at it? Is it going to go up against the wall? You want something square so it sits nicer. Is it going to be more of a centerpiece where it can be seen from a bunch of different angles? Is it more viewed from above? Maybe you have like a little courtyard or it goes downstairs and you like to look down at your garden. All of these are factors we have to consider when we're building a planter. So the one I'm building today, I selected this. I like darker pots. I find they go better in kind of like black goes with everything, okay? This is a charcoal. I also like it because I like the design, nice and contemporary. It's round, so I'm thinking of a 360 area, and this is fiberglass, so it's lightweight, and something that's important are drain holes. Okay, so I can't even get my finger in them, but there's drain holes in the bottom, right there. Now this pot did not have drain holes. I put the drain holes in myself. So always keep an eye out for that. If your pot doesn't have drain holes, you may want to use it as a cover pot and put another pot inside it. I have a large ceramic at home, has no drain holes. I'm not about to drill through my ceramic. I've done it before, I don't like it. Kind of weakens the whole thing and you can get stress fractures. So I just put a planter's pot in my big pot and it looks amazing. But this one, I put some drain holes in because I'm going to be planting directly in it. So that's why I picked a round one. But again, okay, there is no wrong answers. So whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. You might like a round pot pushed up against a straight wall to give some contrast, to give some curvature. Okay, you might like a square pot that is viewed 360. Totally fine. Totally fine. You might not like fiberglass. You might want a heavy duty ceramic. You might just want a very plain black one. Yes, 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 yes. Whatever works for you is the correct answer. Be as grandiose or minimalistic as you want. So I'm putting these plants in, and I kind of did a planter, not exactly the same, somewhat similar to this. And I said I like the minimalist approach, and Brandy looked at me and said, "That's what you call minimalist." The thing is, the grandiose ones, you see people put Japanese maples, cedar trees in these planters, and they go nuts. That to me is more grandiose. These are just pretty flowers. They're just a couple of varieties, that's all. I think this is pretty minimalistic. You can go even more minimalistic and just do a pot full of pansies. A small 10-inch black pot filled with pansies. That makes you smile. It's awesome. It makes me smile. I did a window box a couple of years ago, and it had impatiens and begonias in it. It was in the shade, did amazing. Two very simple plants, did great. So whatever works for you is the way you want to do it. If you are going to do one that has a little bit more grandiosity, I don't know, but think about your thriller, filler, and spiller. So your thriller, I hope everybody's doing that with me. Your thriller is the plant that goes in the middle. It's the eye catch. It's what draws your attention to the pot. Your filler goes around it, normally accents it, boosts it, draws the eye to it, and your spiller simply comes down the edge. Okay, that's it. We're just taking away that hard edge of the pot and giving some more depth to it. Mono and polyculture, so monoculture and polyculture, both work well when we're doing pots. That's just a fancy way of saying you can use all one type of plant or you can use many different types of plant. So I don't care if you jam 10 different plants in your planter. I don't care if you just do one. Doesn't make a difference. Again, it's what looks good, what makes you happy. Don't let anybody else, myself included, tell you that there is only one way to do this. There is not. I'm going to show you what I think looks good, what I enjoy seeing, and I'm going to show you the right way to plant. What I want you to take from this is, oh, it's very doable. I know the correct techniques, and then go your own way. Only thing I would recommend is don't take a sun plant and put it in the shade. Don't take a shade plant, put it in the sun. That's not a design thing. That's a plant thing. Look for compliments. Just wait for my compliments. Okay.
You look amazing.
Thank you. It's the t-shirt and the shoes, isn't it?
It is.
There we go. But look for complements, plants that complement each other. So you can see here, there's a little bit of pink in my dahlia, a little bit of white. So just the two that I've got here, I've got some pinks, blues, and whites here. These are going to be part of my spillers, and they're going to complement that. Okay. Contrast. So my filler is osteospermum, and that's going to contrast really well with the white, but there is still a little bit of white in there to pick it up. So it's kind of opposing. So the more white in here, less white in here, more purple in here, less purple in here, and they contrast off each other. So you want to look for playing with that and look for your accents. Look for the ones that are just like you know, we'll go back to the lobelia here. The reason I picked it is I love that pale pink, and that pale pink accent against the charcoal pot is really going to pop, but it's going to pick up the pink in this petal as well. So that's some design techniques. That's what I look for. A couple of years ago, no, last year, Jenny, her theme for our pots, she wanted to do a sunset theme. So we did all pinks and oranges and pastels. Looked stunning, but we used begonias and portulacas, whatever was on hand. We used some osteospermum. Whatever was there, we used, but we went with that color theme and they looked incredible. Don't be afraid to try new things. You see a new plant, stick it in a planter. Okay, it didn't work, it didn't go exactly how you thought, remember it, change it next year or don't use it again. But it's always fun to change it up and try different things. I try to all the time. Okay, the next slide for the people on IG who won't see it, Brandy can post these.
Yeah.
These are just an example of some sun and some shade. So again, there is crossover. Some of the ones that want the sun, they'll tolerate the shade. They're just not going to be as prolific. Some of the ones that'll do great in the shade will also do great in the sun. Shade tends to mean shade tolerant. Doesn't really have to be in the shade. Some of them, begonias, they don't do great in the sun. I've tried them. Even when I'm watering them, they kind of cook. They like the shade. But you can play around. Sweet potato, for example, great in the shade, does amazing, also does great in the sun. I've put it in both areas. Seemed to do a little better in the shade. The sun, it got a little bit leggy, looked a little bit tired, but it still did amazing and worked in the pot. We have an example of veggies. A lot of people want to do veggies in the pot, so we have a slide on that. Tons of people go, oh, I can't grow veggies, I don't have sun. I'll just read a couple off this list. Kale, spinach, arugula, rhubarb, carrots. Okay, the list goes on and on. So you absolutely can. Okay, you can't do your tomatoes and peppers. Sorry about that, I can't fix that. But if you have a small area of sun, jam them in there, and then the rest of the area, do all of your other veggies. So those are a couple of examples of that. And then we have sun and shade herbs. Now, a lot of times herbs are light adaptable. What I mean by that, I have mint in the shade category on this. But the vast majority of people know that mint can also go full sun. I put mint full sun quite frequently. The reason it's in the shade is shade can sometimes be harder to find plants for. Mint will do amazing in the shade. It does, basically mint just does mint. It doesn't put it in a pot. Do not put it in your garden, but you can put it in the garden. Put it in a window box. Cut a piece and drop it in a glass of water. Mint is going to do okay. So, the light adaptable, a lot of times we'll put some of our herbs in the shade. For example, cilantro. When we cut it to use it, the best way to use cilantro, I found, by the way, is to cut it maybe about half, take it, and throw it in the garbage, because cilantro is not good.
No, I love it.
Oh my God, I am team no. I am team no. I had a traumatic experience once with cilantro. And somebody made me a wrap, and they put lettuce in it.
Yeah.
It wasn't lettuce, it was cilantro. But
Just
that's
all cilantro.
Yep.
Oh.
And it was a little overwhelming. And ever since then, I've been able to pick it out, and I'm not a fan.
I'm about to ask in the chat, do you like cilantro? And we're gonna get more people on Team Brandy.
No. Okay. Here we go. Before we do it, let's find out. I will wager more people don't like cilantro than do like.
More people do.
No. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Better coffee.
Okay.
Okay, you're on. Okay, everybody, even if you like cilantro, say no, because you're going to get me a free coffee. I'm the one who's here. Granted, without Brandy, I would just be yelling at an empty room. So Brandy does make me get my message across, but vote for me. So there's some ideas of what you can do with herbs. What I was saying, I'll finish my thought about the cilantro. Cut it back when it's in full sun. The cilantro will probably grow back quicker. In the shade, it will absolutely grow back to be reused, just might be a little bit slower. So that's what I mean when I say herbs are light adaptable. Most of them will take a little bit of shade, or in the case of like mint, quite a bit of shade, but they might not come back as quick when you use them. All right, So now the best part is we're going to do some planting. So first thing I'm going to do is remove my wedding band and my watch so I don't lose them in the pot. True story here, really cool story. Years ago, there was a guy and he was out planting with his wife in the spring. I believe it was in England. Anyway, they finished the day and they come in, they get showered, washed, whatever. And he notices that his wedding band is missing. And they've been in the garden the whole day. He goes out and looks, but he doesn't see it. Kind of gives up on it. That autumn, they're harvesting their garden, and they pull out a carrot, and the carrot had his wedding band on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he thinks when he was planting the seeds, his wedding band had slipped off, and a seed grew straight through it.
Wow, 1 in a million chance,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, so pretty cool story. That being said, it's a 1 in a million chance. I know where mine would be, but I don't want to I'm not going to take off.
No, 1 in a million chance he found it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't take the risk. Every time I garden, I always take all of that stuff off. You know what annoys me? I have to take off my watch, but my watch is also my Fitbit, so I garden, and I don't know how many steps I took.
Oh, annoying.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point in doing anything these days if you don't have a metric for it? Enjoyment? I don't think so. Okay, so let's plant. So, I already said I would have been great if I picked up a different container. I should have done that. We already decided on our container, already talked about it, drain holes. I said why I selected it. Soil. So what I'm going with here is not technically a soil. I am going to be moving around a little bit here. I am going to have things going on the table, so there might be a little bit of interference with the mic and whatnot. We'll try and work around it. So for my soil, I'm not actually using a soil. I just say soil. I'm using a potting mix. This is a peat moss based growing medium. It's a very long way. Everybody calls it soil. This is what I'm going to use. Amazing stuff. I've used it forever. So what we do first, especially for a big pot like we have here, some of the smaller pots, I already know that if I don't move my cup of tea, this is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Tea break. That's a proper tea. That's a little shout out to you, Brandy. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pot. I'm going to, you know what's funny? I feel more nervous now, Brandy.
Why?
Because I'm standing on a carpet about making a mess. Downstairs in the tropical department, I was like, this is how you filled your soil.
This is a lesson, though. Don't do it in a place where you don't want to get messy.
Okay, my lesson is do it in a place where you want to get messy, but don't add the water.
Yeah, oh yeah, there you go.
Because you can vacuum up dry soil. You can sweep up dry soil. So as you can see, I will talk about watering. I have no watering can here. This won't be watered. I'll probably do it off air. I will explain how I'm going to water. But until it's cleaned up, if I add water and it leaks, now I have mud. Now I have a problem. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it into my pot like so. And I'm going to dump some in. And I'm stopping there, so anybody who has a guess will know that there is no way that was enough soil. That's what it looks like, okay? The reason I only put that much in is I want to firm it down. And what I'm doing here is so if anybody's followed any webinars or anything I've done when I talk about planting, I always say when you plant, you just want to firm the soil. You just want to get it in there. You don't want to compact it. This one I'm actually really compacting. I'm making a solid level bed. Couple of reasons. If I leave it too loose at the base, when I'm planting, I can leave air pockets, sink spots. Plants can move when I water. Also, if I push it down firm, when I lift it up, soil isn't running out of my drain holes. So I'm going to push this down. And I'll show what it looks like in a second, but you can see I'm using all of my weight and I'm really, really pushing it out. How those votes for cilantro? More people don't like it? That's what I thought. Excellent. So that's what it looks like now. So you can see I can tip it like that and the soil isn't pouring. Okay, it's staying nice and level and I've got it up to there. And it's level. You're not putting a spirit level on it. You just want a nice, bed. Now, I'm going to add some more soil. And again, I'm not filling it all the way up, and I'll show why in a second.
Now that sounds
I bet. You know what though? It's actually, this table's a good height. This is a little bit higher than the one downstairs, I think. So now, what I'm doing with this soil is I'm gonna level it out. Now I'm just tamping it down. I'm not firming it, okay? I'm not going absolutely mental. I'm just tamping it so I can get it level, because I want this soil to be a little looser, because this is where all the new roots are gonna go, and I don't want it really pushed down. I want those roots to get in with zero barrier for entry. I want them feeding this. When they're strong and the plant is established, they'll get into that bottom layer, no problem. I didn't firm it down that much. It's a potting soil, it's not some ridiculously heavy, it's not a clay. Those roots are gonna get in there, no problem, but the looser the soil, the easier it is for the roots. That's why when we do seeds, I literally tap it down like that, because that little first root that comes out, it's just gotta grab. That's all I want. So, that's what it looks like now. And the reason I didn't come up to the top is as I plant, I'm going to displace soil. That displaced soil is going to raise as I go. So, I'm gonna start with my thriller. Okay? And it's gonna go right bang smack in the middle. So I'm looking at the size of the pot. I've done this enough. I'm pretty good at guesstimating where I wanna be. And all I've done here, soil is gonna move here, is I've just made a little crater in the middle. Just did a little crater that filled in when I tipped the pot. Okay, so now I take my dahlia here. I'm gonna squish the pot.
Why do you squish it?
So the reason I squish it, the roots can push up against it. And if I squish it, when I turn it upside down, I can take it off without damaging the pot. Please, 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 if you take anything from this, do not remove your plant from the pot by holding the pot and grabbing the plant. Okay, I see people all the time, they put it down, they grab the plant, and they're trying to pull the plant out of the pot. That soil is being watered, it's firmed down, the roots have grown, it is being held in there. You pull it, you run the risk of seriously damaging your plant, if not killing it. Do this method of just literally squishing it, just loosening it like that all the way around. Then all I do is I put my hand across here, so I'm supporting my plant, flip it, and that's it.
Wow, look at that root.
Comes off that easy. So it's got roots that are ready to go. It is not root bound. It is a nice, big, healthy plant. And she's going right in the middle. Now I'm gonna use that soil I displaced. I'm gonna quickly go around here. I'm on my tippy toes. I didn't just get taller. Okay, and I should just be able to tuck her in and firm it down. Okay, so there you go. That's our thriller. It's standing right out. I love the contrast of the light and the charcoal. It's working well. I love the green leaf. So now I'm gonna put in my filler. So for the filler, I chose probably one of my all-time favorite annuals, the osteospermum. They come in yellows and whites and blues, burgundies, reds. They are phenomenal. And all I'm gonna do, look at the roots on that one.
Wow.
So same thing. I'm not gonna grab it and pull the pot off of it. You know, I should one time I should sacrifice one and do it.
No!
And just show why not to do it. It's the same reason when you see people buy a new tree and they lift it by the stem. Nails on a chalkboard. I see that and I'm just like,
Yeah, if that snaps, game over.
yeah, just lift from the pot. The pot's even got a lip on it. Just lift from the pot. If you can't lift it and you're here, ask one of us. We will happily lift it for you. So I go around, same thing. I brace the plant. So I'm just putting my fingers on either side of the crown, holding the soil. And then I'm just gonna pop it out like that. Look at those roots. Okay, this one is also ready to explode. And I'm just gonna tuck this one in right here next to my dahlia. And I'm gonna do the same with the other two. My dahlia is leaning. Okay, that's no problem. We'll get it going. So now, same with this one. So all of these are gonna be the same. Go around, work it all the way down, and you can see how easy it comes out. Okay, there's zero effort there. I am causing that plant minimal stress. It is getting stressed, absolutely. Anytime we take a plant out of where it's being grown, it will indeed have some stress, but it's not stressed because anything is being damaged or broken. Okay, so these are roughly equidistant apart. I'm putting the third over here. So when I do planters, I like to use odd numbers. Whenever I plant, 1, 3, 5, etc., etc. Even numbers, you can find yourself doing rectangles and squares, and it just doesn't have the same aesthetic. Now, I know some people that love symmetry. They love that, but you go to some formal gardens and the box row or the boxwood hedges, the privet hedges are all pruned in a perfect way, and then the roses are laid out concentric on both sides. Some people love that. I do understand the aesthetic behind it. Not my cup of tea. Okay, I like a bit more of a natural feel. So I'm just making sure right now, and this is going to be a little difficult to show, but I will indeed try. All I'm doing is making sure the plants that I've put in here, oh, I love the smell. Dahlias don't really have a fragrance, but when you're this close in the soil and in the greenery. But anyway, what I was saying is I'm putting them in and I'm making sure. So if this is the top of my dahlia, this is the soil, and my dahlia is coming out here, all of the soil levels are the same. So I'm just gently going, and you're going to notice that there's a big hole in there, and I'll address that, which is the best, probably this angle here. So we're looking down here, okay? So you can see that there is a gap and there's roots showing. Not a problem. Now I'm going to fill that with the soil, and I'm going to bring the soil up. And what that did for me is it prevented me from basically putting in too much soil, digging it out, and having my plants at different levels. Now there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can pour the soil in direct, or another way is you can upcycle your pots. Okay? And your pot can become a scoop. And you can just dump it in like that. The other method I was talking about, if you've got the wherewithal, the strength, whatever you need, is you can just tip the bag and fill it in like that. So whichever way works better for you, it's not going to hurt. When I'm done, they're both good. You won't know which one I did which way. So all I'm doing now, and I'm firming this soil in, and I'm being careful not to bury the crown of the plant. Again, I am just coming up to the root ball. So your plant comes out the ground. I can show you with this verbena here. So as the plant comes up, I know some people, when they plant it, they go, oh, well, if I plant to here, it'll make it more sturdy. It's going to make it anything but. You're really going to, if I had to pick between planting at this depth and planting at this depth, I'm going to pick this one. I would rather have this much soil above the ground. I don't like that either, by the way, just so you know. But that is more preferable than planting here. Okay, that's pretty much going to kill your plant. This is where I'm going to be. But I see people put it a little high because they're like, oh, I want to make it a little higher. Or people go, oh, I want to firm it up, and they put it lower. So we're going to throw the verbena back in its pot for right now. I'm going to add a smidge more soil to, you know what, I'm just going to pour it in directly. Okay, doing a little bit of ASMR here. I don't know what that stands for. Acoustic Saturday morning rustling.
I mean, that was creative. I'll give you that.
It works. It fits in. It's like that old saying when we're talking about fertilizer, okay? Yeah. If you want to remember, NPK just stands for...
no problem, Ken.
No problem, Ken. Okay, that was coined by a garden genius. I'm just kidding. They are a garden genius. That was coined by Brandy. Yeah. That was in one of our podcasts. We have a lot of fun. If you're not following our podcast, check it out. You can find us on, oh my God, everywhere. homepage, Spotify, Google, Apple, Audible, Amazon, wherever you listen to a podcast, I'm pretty sure we're there, right, Brandy? YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube? Oh, homepage, did I say that? I don't know what I said. We're in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So all I'm doing now is I'm just firming this in, and now my plants are a lot more sturdy. And I haven't finished yet. I have not finished. There's a little bit more to go. So I'm bringing the soil up slowly now. I'm not dumping it in because, again, I really want to make sure that I don't bury any of my flowers. I don't want them too deep. So it takes a little bit of extra time. Now, if I was outside or somewhere where I could make a mess, I'd probably be going a little bit quicker, but I do have to be a little bit more aware up here. Plus, I don't want to get soil on my rad shoes. I'm just kidding. They're total garden shoes. They are made to be worn outside to get dirty, and then you can just hose them off. Could you imagine if they made plant shoes and you couldn't wear them in a garden?
I don't know. I can barely hear you through the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said there would be some disruptions.
Wait, what did you say?
I said, could you imagine if they made plant shoes like these, but you couldn't wear them like in the garden?
Why not?
Well, because they've got so Doc Martens. I love my Doc Martens. I've got 3 pairs, and they made a Doc Marten, and it's beautiful. It's got a rose embroidered through it, and it's a woman's. They don't make amends.
Oh no.
And it only goes. So I was like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll take a woman's. What is a woman's size in men's 12? And they were like, they don't go that big.
No.
So, anyway, shout out to Doc Marten here. I won't speak. Now I will speak. Shout out to Doc Martens. Make those shoes for dudes. I would totally buy a pair. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up. We're going to have another look, and you guys can see what we're looking at now. So I'll come around to this side. I think nope, this side is probably the best angle. Huh. Oh.
You're good. You're good.
Sorry, Verbena. So now you can see my soil is all at a uniform level. I'm not right up to the top, so I have enough room for water. I have enough room if there's rainfall. I'm not going to be making a huge mess. And we have to remember as well, these are going to grow. They're going to grow in. They're going to get bigger. So now I have 3 different types of spiller. Okay, I've got Verbena, Bacopa, and Lobelia. And I'm going to keep a pattern somewhat because I grabbed mixed Lobelia, and I grabbed it for a reason to show how accents can work. So I'm going to start on this side, and then I'll rotate so you can see how it looks. Same thing, even with the little plants like this, you can see I'm loosening the soil, flip it, come on, squish it, and out it comes. And that's it. I get rid of the tags. You want to leave the tags in, personal choice. I don't like them. I think it takes away from the beauty of the pot. But some people, they might not know the plant. It might be, remember when I said try something new? Maybe it's something new and they don't want to forget what they planted. So we already lifted this guy out. Come on. So the Verbena is coming out. I loved it. One of my little hack with this. If you have an area in a flower bed and you want an annual ground cover, this works so amazing. It comes in reds, variegated, pink, and purple is my favorite, but it didn't go well with this. It would be too much purple. It would be too overwhelming. And they all play really well. So you can do a mishmash of different colors and it forms a carpet. I love Verbena. Love it so much. So I'm going to tuck that one into there. And then where's my Lobelia? Okay, so I have a 4-pack. Okay, how do I get them out? Think of it like a push pop. So I'm going to start down here, and I'm just going to squish, and I'm just going to squish. Now you can see the roots popping up, and then I'm going to lift from the roots, never the plant. Okay, there we go. That's how I take it out. That was way more awkward than I normally do it. I don't know why I didn't just come around to here. I'm like,
It was great.
I gotta hide behind my dahlia, and I'm just gonna tuck the Lobelia in right here, firm down my soil.
So it doesn't matter how close they are.
No, that's really good question, Brandy. I'm jamming them in close. I want them in close. They have all of that depth, remember, for the roots to go into. I like my planters full. I'm leaving a bit of room because they do have to grow into each other, but I want them full. I want to see soil. I just want to see colors. I just want to see beauty. Okay? And when I put in my spillers, I always try and angle them. So everything I plant straight, them, I'll put on a slight angle to force them to go to the outside. So I'll turn it around, and that's what the face looks like. Now, I know we can't really see our little Bacopa, hey guys, right here, but eventually that's going to cascade down the edge. Once this gets back into full sun, the osteospermum is going to lift, and everything is going to come up. So, so I want to put lobelia, okay. When I'm doing this, even though these are all different, I'm still following a planting path. And the reason for that is if I don't, and I've done this before in something this tight, if I try and make it purely chaotic, what'll end up happening is I get to the end and I've got all three verbena together and I've lost that kind of the artificial, more natural look. And I understand the more natural look would be not forcing it and just taking it randomly, but we're kind of cheating nature. We're kind of putting our own spin on it. I want one of my verbenas. Okay, same thing. I'm just loosening it out, so I'm not going to keep showing how I do the pot. Stick that in there. And as I'm doing it, now I'm just taking all of the displaced soil and I'm firming down around my plants. Lobelia. Do I have, oh, I'm super happy. I got my little pink one. So that is what I was looking for, the pink, picking up the pinks there. I just love it. I know a lot of dudes are more interested in their lawns, in their shrubs, and whatnot. I love my flowers. I really do. They make me so happy every single time. That's why I like to jam them in full. That's why, Brandy and I have talked about it. Whenever we do this, did we do a herb one once? I don't think we did.
I thought you put a herb in the middle.
I've done lavender in the middle.
Oh, lavender.
I've done lavender in the middle, but I've never done a full herb pot.
No.
I do herb pots at home, but when I do a herb pot like this and I'm done, I'm like, a pot full of green. This is that instant hit of color. It's instant happiness. It's instant joy. And I will just never, ever get bored of seeing that personally. So I started with Bacopa. You think I'd remember? You know what I should have done? I should have done it alphabetically. I should have done Bacopa, lobelia, verbena.
No, too complicated.
Well, no, because then it's alphabetical. It's BLV. BLV. Bacon, lettuce, and Vermato.
Vermato.
I couldn't think of anything quick that begins with V. Think of a food quickly
I
that
still
begins
can't think of a food that starts with V.
with very delicious Oreos.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. Who likes cilantro more than Oreos? That.
Hey, don't say that.
That, I wouldn't believe anybody. I really wouldn't. Even if somebody's like, my name is Johnny Cilantro, I'd be like, I still don't believe you. Sorry, Mr. Cilantro. So, I'm putting in my last verbena. And we're going to tuck it in right here. And then I will angle the pot to show you what I've done. Now, this only came in a 4-pack. I've got 2 left. Yeah, they're both going in.
What?
Oh, yeah. Again, it's going to be somewhat wild. I don't care. They'll grow into each other. So, you asked how close I plant them?
Yeah.
Okay. That's how close I'm going to plant them.
You're going to plant them together?
I'm going to plant them exactly like that. So, here, what I'll do for this one.
Yeah.
Why don't I come around now? I will come around to here. Let me know if this can be seen. So, this is where they're going. This is my spot. Again, this is lying over, but you guys can see my gap there. These are going in like this. Now, if this was a perennial or a shrub tree, there's no way in hell I would put them that close together. It just wouldn't.
Yeah.
These are one and done. They've got 1 year to get their act together, and then they're going to die. And when I put them in like that, you're not even going to really notice that there's 2 of them. So, I know I've got a couple of low areas there. I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm going to go around and fill that with soil. And hey presto, there's a planter.
Perfect.
So, again, hopefully now you can see what I did is I took a dark charcoal base. I put everything in that's light. Now, maybe if I'd gone with a dark burgundy, dark red, I might have picked a lighter one. I might have picked white or maybe even a yellow. Okay, but I was going with whites. I went down, I looked at the flowers, got inspired, then went and picked out my planter. And I think the dark is going to look great, especially when these whites and blues and pinks come cascading down and we have this in the middle and everything picking up on each other. So that's why I did that. Wow, I made a mess. So, we've got our planting done. Watering. So normally, if I was doing this at home, if I had 4 other planters to go, this would go off to the side in the shade. Oh, and just so you know, there's weight to it, but it's not ridiculously heavy. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
I would have totally gone off camera. I would water this, but I don't water until it's done. Now, maybe if it was full sun and these plants were suffering terribly, full wilt, oh my God, I'm going to lose them, sure, I'll water them. There's always an exception, but for the most part, everything goes off, everything is cleaned up, everything is watered. Tip, don't water till you put it in the place. If you cannot plant where you want it to go, so you plant in place, so then you don't have to lift it if it's heavy, water it in place because the water is going to add exponential weight to it. So you water immediately, water every day for the next few days, really let those roots establish, make sure you don't have any sink spots, and then water as needed. So this, in a full sun area in the front of my house, will probably need to be watered twice a day. It's exposed to wind, that's going to dry it out. It's going to get full sun. The front of my house gets sunrise to sunset with not a break in between. Perfect for growing. Sure, it can be a little hot for them at the offset. I might move them into the shade for the first week, give them a little break. But once they start going, but it dries out. The black is pulling heat in. The wind, it's just drying out the water. So I keep watering it. Overwatering, we can get root rot. Underwatering, it's just not going to produce. It's going to drop flowers. The flowers aren't going to come back. I have an area right at the front steps going up to my house. Jenny and I do matching urns on each side, and we kind of match the planting. It's not identical, but it's similar plants. They do not need the same water. One of them gets obviously a little bit more wind or sun exposure. The first year I was like, this one is doing great, this one isn't. And I made the rookie mistake. I'm like, they're this far apart in the front of the house. If this one's dry, that one must be dry, and I wasn't checking accordingly. So just because they're the same and they're close to each other, they might not need the same. Certain plants are going to grow faster, they're going to drink more water, etc., etc. Early day watering is best, especially if there's any restrictions. No restrictions yet, so we don't have to worry. If you go to our homepage, we've broken down all the city water guidelines there, so you can follow along and know that you're doing it. I just want to say this, I've said it numerous times, I've said it on radio, I've said it on TV. I'm very clearly not changing what I'm planting this year. I am not too worried about it. Until we are in a stage 4, okay, where if it is a stage 4 drought, we might not have enough water to shower. Then we can't water our plants. Until then, we're allowed to water. So I'm not changing what I'm doing. I'm keeping my plants going. They make me happy. Fertilizing. So I got an all-purpose right here behind me. That'll work on these. You can buy a flowering one, whatever you want. Don't use a tree, 30-10-10. Don't use a high nitrogen, but all-purpose, whatever, they're going to work on it. Ideally, yeah, use a flowering one. It will help with the blooms. It's essential, okay? And I hate telling people you have to do it, so I'm going to make this abundantly clear. You do not have to do it at all. It's essential for tomatoes to stop blossom and rot. It's not essential for new blooms, but it massively makes a difference. And I'm saying this from somebody who's tested side by side. Anybody who's followed with me knows I don't sell snake oil. I don't say you have to buy anything. At the very beginning, I said, I don't really care what you do with a planter. It's what makes you happy. Fertilizer will give you better results. That's it. You do not have to have it, but it goes a massive long way. This tub of fertilizer, 20 bucks or 30 bucks or something, I don't know prices. You get this tub of fertilizer, keep it in a cool, dry location, and it'll last you until it's done. Okay, so it's an investment. It's not one season you got to dump out what you didn't use. It will keep. Fertilizer helps with overall health and growth. Now, if we're talking perennials and trees and shrubs, we always say stop fertilizing in August. Okay, we don't want to encourage new growth going into the winter. We want the plant to go dormant. Okay, not with our annuals at all. These guys are going to die. Doesn't matter what we do. Shh. Sorry, I shouldn't say that right in front of them. That was rude. But these guys are not going to make it through the winter. I mean, you can bring them in and do clippings and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. They're going in the compost. So max the fertilizer. Keep going. Whatever the manufacturer tells you to do, keep doing it. Keep doing it until the frost kills all of your plants and they go in the compost. You will keep your planter looking amazing all year long. That's how you want to do it. Deadheads. So normally I would clean these up before I brought them, but I deliberately wanted to leave some deadheads. So this flower is finished. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my pruners and I'm going to cut the stem back into the body of the plant. I do that for aesthetics. So let me come around here. All I needed to remove was this part. Okay, I can see if I can show both cameras. You know what? Osteospermum does actually show better for that. Now I can't find my pruners. Here we go. So this flower here is dead. Okay, it's not attractive. I'm removing it to encourage new flowers. It's better for the pollinators, it's better for the plant, etc., etc. I'm going to cut this right back on this stem to here. And I do that for aesthetics. I don't want to see a bare stem. But all I had to take off was that. Okay? Down. Show Insta. All I had to take off was this part here. The seed bed.
Yeah, I know. There you go.
I don't know where the cameras are pointing exactly. With two cameras, I don't have a TV, so I can't see myself, which is good because I don't like watching myself on TV. I do watch playback so I can keep getting better for y'all. Now, some people, they just clean off the petals and they go, okay, I'm okay with that. That is still going to develop seed. We do not want it to develop seed. If it's developing seed, the plant is saying its job is done. It's done for it got seeds out. It's good. Now it can die. We are trying to force it to keep blooming. The way to do that is not allow it to produce seeds. It doesn't produce seeds. It's like, all right, I'll go again. And it keeps putting out flowers. So adding the fertilizer, deadheading, watering properly is going to keep your planter looking great all year round. All right, so I do want to mention again, if you're looking for us, we do have our podcast. There's our logo on my tea mug. There's me on my own tea mug. And I even made a list so I didn't forget. Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and goldenacre.ca. That's where you can find us. Obviously, it's all free. All of our past episodes are there. Brandy does show notes. We have a lot of fun with it. So, yeah, we'd love you guys to follow us along on there. Actually, I'm going to keep my tea here now. Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to you all. This is always my favorite webinar. I don't just get to talk about, this is compost, this is manure, which is very important, and I do love it, but I get to create something beautiful. Hopefully I get to inspire. Hopefully I give you some ideas for Mother's Day, and hopefully you go out this weekend and get your hands dirty. So I will say a big thank you, and I'll take any questions.
Absolutely. First of all, shout out to Jan. She's baking a cake.
Oh, excellent. What flavor are you bringing me, Jen?
Is it cilantro?
Is it Oreo?
Yeah. No, she was asking which thrillers are good for shade/north-facing pots. Can you repeat the question in case people didn't hear me?
Yep. So which thrillers are good for shade on north-facing pots? begonias, the tuberous roots. So there's two types of begonias. You have the little ones, more of a burgundy leaf, waxy. They're good in a bed or as a filler, but the big double begonias with the green leaf and the veins in it, they're an amazing. I use them as my thriller. Coleus, really good, more foliage based, but tons of there's greens and there's burgundies and there's purples, and they all play so well together. Interesting texture on Coleus too. Geranium can work really well. So there's a whole bunch. If you want, you can do Dracaena. I don't find that a thriller at all. I find it, again, we're talking personal aesthetics. So again, I'm going to go back to the beginning. If you love Dracaena, I am genuinely happy for you. My mum did. Okay, so I'm not knocking it. I don't like it. I couldn't tell you how many planters I've done, and I've seen Dracaena overused. So there's tons of other grasses. There's ostrich grass. That's another great one that goes really good.
What about purple fountain grass?
Purple fountain
Love
grass,
that.
yeah. So there are quite a number of thrillers you can use. There's a few off the top of my head, but again, oh man, I really should keep my area better organized. Brandy will put this out, and there is a list right there that have some on it. So not all of these are going to be thrillers. Like Creeping Jenny isn't really going to be a thriller. Sweet Potato isn't, but there definitely are a few there that you can use.
Yeah.
And good luck with your cake.
It's lemon, by the way.
Oh, I love lemon cake.
Yeah.
What a great summer day cake.
I know.
Lemon cake and ice cream.
Oh. Okay, I've just kind of popped it up there, Jan, for sun versus shade for flowers.
Oh, I thought you meant you popped her cake up there. I'm like, sweet.
I mean, sure.
Send us a picture of your cake, Jen. We'll share it.
Also, Jen, do you like cilantro? Can you? You were trying to figure out if cilantro's good or not. I like it. Colin does not.
No, it's not, because it's not good.
No.
It's not. Okay, they have Oreo cinnamon bun, Oreo birthday cake.
Yeah.
They don't have Oreo cilantro. Can't help but notice that. And when it comes to tasty things, I will listen to Mr. Christie. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm just deadheading as we go. Do we have any other questions?
No, I think that pretty much wraps us up.
All right. Well, I thank you all for being here. Like I said, I really hope this inspires you. Brandy and I love doing these things. We love doing the podcast.
Yeah.
We love getting out there. We did, like I said, yesterday we did a workshop on this. And that's what we really love doing. So have a great day. Enjoy the weekend. Please, if you go outside, remember water. Remember your SPF. Put a hat on. We don't want to start the season getting sunburned and getting heat stroke and all of that bad stuff. So let's make sure we look after ourselves so we can look after our gardens better, okay? Enjoy your day. We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.